In this lecture, we will discuss about some properties of triangles. Two properties we will see of isosceles triangles, then we will see triangle inequality. So first let's discuss about a property of isosceles triangle. It is a theorem which says that the angles opposite to the equal sides of a triangle are equal. It means an isosceles triangle is given. When we have to prove a theorem, the most important thing is first its statement. So, a statement of this theorem says the angles opposite to equal sides of a triangle are equal. This we have to prove. So, there may be any construction. First, we will write the statement. Symbolically, we will write what is given to us. Given is these two sides we are taking equal. So, symbolically, we will write AB is equal to AC in triangle ABC. We have to prove angles opposite. For this side AB, the angle opposite is this angle C. For this side AC, the angle opposite is this angle B. So what we have to prove? We have to prove angle C is equal to angle B, or we can say angle B is equal to angle C. Now, to prove this theorem, we require a construction. We will draw an angle bisector. Angle bisector is a line segment which divides an angle into two equal parts. So this AD is an angle bisector of angle A. It means, according to construction, what we have done, angle 1 is equal to angle 2. You can write this construction in words that draw AD as an angle bisector, or directly if you want to write symbolically, you may write angle 1 is equal to angle 2 since AD is an angle bisector. So this is the construction. Now we will prove the two triangles equal and congruent so that we will get angle B is equal to angle C or angle C is equal to angle B. Now first we have to see this angle C and angle B are parts of which two triangles. Those two triangles we will prove equal and congruent. So these two will become the corresponding parts of those two congruent triangles and they will be equal. So angle C is part of triangle ACD and angle B is part of triangle ABD. So we will prove these two triangles equal and congruent. Equal and congruent, when we have to prove, then automatically those 5 criteria should come in our mind. What are they? SAS axiom, ASA, AAS corollary, SSS or RHS. RHS we will leave here because it is nowhere given that these are right angle triangles. Okay, so we will concentrate on 4 criteria. What are they? First, SAS. So first we will see what can we apply. What is in our hand? In our hand is AB and AC. So first you have to choose the triangles which are to be proved equal and congruent. So which two triangles we have to take? Triangle ABD and triangle ACD. ACD. Now, what is given? AB is equal to AC. This is given. Always remember, to prove the congruency, we require 3 elements. And we have to mention the reason also. These two are given equal. Now, angle 1 is equal to angle 2 by construction. Now we have to look for the third part, which is not given, and we have to choose. We have to take. So, one side, one angle. Now look at this AD, which is common for both. So AD is equal to AD. So the third part is AD is equal to AD, which you can write as common in both the triangles. So by SAS, this is common. So by SAS or SAS, the two triangles are equal and congruent. So we will write, therefore, by SAS, rule you can say, axiom you can say, this is either axiom or rule, triangle ABD is equal and congruent to triangle ACD. When you are writing this first, ABD, then we have to mention its corresponding part. So we can say angle B is equal to angle C, or angle C is equal to angle B. This is by CPCT, means corresponding parts of congruent triangles. 3 parts already we have taken. This is the 4th part. As I said, by taking 3 parts, the triangles will be congruent and other 3 parts will be equal by CPCT. So what is of our use? B and C. So angle B and angle C are equal. So what have you observed? The angles opposite to equal sides in an isosceles triangle are equal. Now we will do the next theorem, which is converse of the previous one. In the previous one, we saw the sides were given equal. Here we will say the sides opposite to equal angles of a triangle are equal. So the theorem is the sides opposite to equal angles it means that in a triangle, 2 angles are given equal. So we will draw the figure and let's take angle B and angle C are equal. Now opposite to this B is this AC. Opposite to this angle C is this AB. So what is given to us? Given is 2 angles are equal. So we will write symbolically angle B is equal to angle C. What is to be proved? The side opposite to B is AC. You can say we have to prove AC is equal to AB or AB is equal to AC. Clear? Now, for this again we need a construction. Same construction we can apply over here also. I have drawn an angle bisector of angle A. Means angle 1 is equal to angle 2. And already it is given angle 3 is equal to angle 4 or B is equal to C also directly can be taken. Now, this AD is the angle bisector, will go in the column construction. Draw AD as an angle bisector you can write, or such that angle 1 is equal to angle 2. Same 2 triangles we will take, but we will see that what criteria can we apply for congruency. Now look at these 2 triangles. Triangle ABD and ACD. What is given? Angle 3 is equal to angle 4. So first we will write the triangles which we have to take. So in triangle ABD and triangle ACD. ABD and ACD. What is given to us? Angle 3 is equal to angle 4 is given. And angle 1 is equal to angle 2 is by construction. Now 2 angles are given. So either the included side or any side. If included side we have got, then we can apply ASA. But if the side is not included, then we can apply AAS. So between these 2 angles, this AB and AC are not given equal, that we have to prove. So we cannot apply ASA here. So what can we apply? AAS. So we will look for the third element. And that third element is this AD, which is common. So third part is AD is equal to AD, which we will write as common. So by what criteria the triangles are equal and congruent? By AAS, because any 2 angles and the side which is not included. So directly also you can use the corollary by AAS, triangle ABD is equal and congruent to triangle ACD. Now when the triangles are congruent, then the corresponding parts will be equal. So for this triangle ABD, what will we take? AB is equal to AC or AC is equal to AB. By what criteria? CP, CT. Because once the triangles are equal and congruent, corresponding parts are equal. So what we have seen, if two angles of a triangle are given equal, then the sides opposite to them will also be equal. Now we will discuss inequalities in a triangle. Inequalities means we have to use the symbols greater than or less than. So we will discuss in a triangle when two sides are unequal. Then what about the angles opposite to them? Or if we know the angles, then what about the sides opposite to them? So in a triangle, when two sides are unequal, suppose we have taken a triangle like this and we are considering these two sides AB and AC. What is the condition? A triangle ABC is given such that AB is not equal to AC, means they are unequal. Then the theorem says that the angle opposite to the smaller side, when I said this AB is not equal to AC, then I must say which is greater. So I have taken this AB is lesser than AC, it means AC is greater than this AB. So we can say here what we have considered, AB is less than AC, or in other words we can say AC is greater than AB. When the situation is like this, we have to concentrate on the angle. Now in front of this AB, which angle is drawn? Angle C. In front of this AC, angle B is drawn. The theorem says that in a triangle, when two sides are unequal, then the angle opposite to a smaller side will be shorter. Or in other words, the angle opposite to greater side, means the longer side, will be greater. So here in this case, AC is bigger than this AB. So angle B will be more than angle C. So what is given? This is given. And what is the result? The result is, if AC is greater than AB, then angle opposite to AC will be bigger or greater. So angle opposite to AC will be which angle? Angle B. So we can say then angle B is greater than angle C. The same result can be written in different way also. That first is this, and second point can be written as if AB is smaller than AC, then the angle opposite to this AB will be smaller. So in front of this AB, which angle is there? Angle C. So you can write angle C is less than angle B. So either you say in the form of greater than or in form of less than, both are correct. So what the theorem is, if any two sides of a triangle are unequal, then the angle opposite to the longer side is greater. So automatically the angle opposite to shorter side will be smaller. So either you say angle B is greater than angle C, or you say angle C is smaller than angle B, it is same thing. Now the next theorem is, if two angles are given, for example in a triangle, if it is given that angle B is greater than angle C. First it was given that the sides were unequal, no? AB was lesser than AC. In this case, if it is given that any two angles are in such a way that angle B is greater than angle C, then the side opposite to the greater, means the bigger angle will be longer. So if this angle B is greater than angle C, then side opposite to angle B is what? AC. So AC will be greater than this AB. So this result says that in a triangle, this is a theorem which says that in a triangle, if angle B is greater than angle C, if angle B is greater than this angle C, then side opposite to angle B, that is AC, AC will be greater than AB. The same result I can write in different way. If I say angle C is lesser than angle B, then side opposite to this angle C will be shorter. So same result I can write in different way. This is the first part. Or second part, if you say angle C is less than angle B. If angle C is less than angle B, then side opposite to that. What is the side opposite? AB. AB is less than AC. So either you talk about the greater angle or differently if you are just saying the opposite of that. Either you say angle B is greater than angle C, the meaning is same, only angle C is less than angle B. But the sides will be different. No? In front of angle B, this is AC. So if B is greater, AC will be greater. If C is smaller, AB is smaller. Okay? So this is the theorem which gives you the comparison of either two sides or two angles. Now there is a theorem which talks about the comparison of all three sides. Means it says that in a triangle, the sum of two sides of a triangle is greater than the third side. So, according to this theorem, the sum of two sides of a triangle. So, we have to take a triangle and name it ABC. So, this theorem says the sum of two sides is greater than the third side. If in the way of sides you are writing, then the result of this theorem is first is this AB plus BC is greater than AC, or BC plus AC is greater than AB, or third part, that is AB, BC, BC, CA you have taken. Now AB plus AC is greater than BC. Directly if you want to write in the form of this, you can. Otherwise, normally we take the side opposite to this capital A as a small a, the length, this is B and this is C. So same thing can be written as AB, that is, see, in any order you can write. So simply I am just telling you, you may write it in the form of the lengths of the sides which are taken as A, B and C. So we may say A plus B is greater than C, A plus C is greater than B, or B plus C is greater than A. So the theorem says that the sum of two sides of a triangle is always greater than the third side. By this property we can find if three sides are given or three lengths are given, whether they will form a triangle or not. If I simply say the sides of a triangle are 1, 1 and 2, will it form a triangle? No. Why? The sum of two sides of a triangle should be greater than the third side. Here the sum of two sides is equal to the third side. So these three lengths means the line segments cannot draw a triangle. So by this we can also check whether the construction of the triangle is possible or not, because the sum of two sides should always be greater. It will not be equal or lesser than that. So if any three lengths are given, we can easily say whether the triangle is possible or not. So these are the three theorems which I have given for inequalities, means the comparison. We have used the symbols greater than and less than for these sides and angles. Now we will discuss some properties of triangle. Properties means there are some parts of triangles. They are median, altitude, perpendicular bisector and angle bisector. So we will see that when these medians are drawn, where do they meet and what is that point called. When the perpendicular bisectors meet, then that point is called circumcenter. So like this, first we will take the concept, and then we will see where all these three medians are meeting. That point is called centroid, and we will discuss about the characteristics of those points also. So one by one, I'll tell you. First is called the median. So median is a line segment which is drawn from the vertex of a triangle to the midpoint of the opposite side. So for any triangle, if I want to draw a median, I must know the midpoint of each side. So if D is midpoint of BC, E is midpoint of AC, and F is midpoint of AB. So from the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side will be called the median. So AD is first median, which will divide the opposite side into two equal parts. BE is another median. Similarly, CF is the third median. So what is the definition of median? A line segment drawn from the vertex to the midpoint of opposite sides. It means that there is one of the properties of median, that is, a median divides a triangle into two equal triangles, we may say, or a median divides a triangle into two triangles of equal areas. So this also can be said about the median. Now, there are three medians, and of course, whenever the median is drawn, it will lie inside the triangle. Now, first case I have taken an acute angle triangle. I'll give you an example of obtuse angle triangle. Because the side, when we are taking in this way, the side of the triangle's midpoint, when we will join by the opposite vertex, it will lie inside the triangle only. So here, this is second median, and here, this is the third median. So in all the cases, if you are taking the right angle triangle also, then if you draw the median, here this is one median, then from here to the midpoint, second median, from here the third is this. In all the cases, the medians are meeting inside the triangle, no matter whichever type of triangle it is. Wherever these three medians meet, that is called centroid. So we can say centroid is the point of concurrence. I am using this word concurrence because more than two lines, when they meet, they are called concurrent lines. When two lines meet, they are called intersecting lines. More than two lines where they meet, they are called, that is called point of concurrence, and those lines are called concurrent lines. So this is the point of concurrence. But if you are taking two medians, then it will be called point of intersection. That is the difference. So the point of concurrence of medians is called the centroid. So here G is centroid. Okay. Now this G has got some properties, and as I said, G will always lie inside the triangle. This is also one of the characteristics you have to write. Now, the properties or the characteristic of this G, as I said, lies inside the triangle, and second is, this is first I said what you have to write is, it will always lie inside the triangle. Second property of centroid is, it divides each median in the ratio 2:1. So, centroid divides each median in the ratio 2:1. So now look at one median only, and it will be more clear to you. If I draw one median and a centroid, for example, This is the triangle, and I have got a centroid which will lie on the median, of course. So according to this property, you will write AG is to GD will be 2:1. So total parts are how many? 3 parts. Okay, because these are 2 parts and this is 1 part. So if I'm just taking a point over here, I can say that this AG is total 2/3 of this AD. Okay, because these are 2 parts and this is 1 part. So total this AG in comparison to this AD will be its 2/3. So AG is 2/3 of AD. So this GD is 1/3 of this AD. So GD is 1/3 of AD. This is the special characteristic of a centroid. Means centroid divides a median. A median means all 3 medians in the ratio 2:1. So the bigger part will be 2/3 of the median and the smaller part will be 1/3 of the median. So what we have seen, a median which is a line segment drawn from the vertex to the opposite side and where it meets the midpoint. A line segment which joins the vertex and the midpoint of the opposite side is a median, and the medians meet at a point which is called centroid. Centroid lies inside the triangle and it divides each median in the ratio 2:1. Second concept is altitude. It is a perpendicular drop from the vertex to the opposite side. No matter wherever it meets the opposite side, not necessarily at the midpoint. Okay, so altitude is a perpendicular dropped from a vertex to the opposite side of the triangle, and these altitudes, there are 3 sides, so 3 altitudes will be there. These altitudes may meet inside the triangle, outside the triangle, or on the triangle. So 3 cases I will give you: acute angle triangle, obtuse angle triangle, and right angle triangle. And wherever these 3 altitudes meet, that is called orthocenter. So we will see second concept, that is called altitude. So what is an altitude? A perpendicular dropped from a vertex to the opposite side of a triangle is called an altitude. So we'll draw an altitude. From here I have just dropped a perpendicular AD. From B I have dropped another perpendicular BE. From C I have dropped third perpendicular, that is CF. So AD, BE and CF are 3 perpendiculars. They will meet at a point. Suppose they are meeting at a point P. So this P point will be called orthocenter. So what is orthocenter? The point of concurrence of altitudes. So this is the point of concurrence of altitudes. This is called the orthocenter. Now I have shown you for acute angle triangle that the orthocenter lies inside. Okay. Now if we discuss the obtuse angle triangle, let's see an obtuse angle triangle. And for obtuse angle triangle, obtuse angle means one angle should be greater than 90 degrees. So here this angle B I have taken greater than 90 degrees. I said the altitude means a perpendicular dropped on the opposite side. But if I make a perpendicular from this point A, it will never meet to this BC. So you can say altitude is a perpendicular dropped from a vertex to the opposite side or produced opposite side. One sentence you will add in that definition, that perpendicular dropped from a vertex to the opposite side or produced opposite side. So here you have to produce this till here, so that the perpendicular meets. This is a perpendicular dropped. Now, this is a perpendicular dropped on the produced CB. Similarly, now from this C, I want to draw a perpendicular on this AB, which is again not possible. So I have to produce this AB, so that from this C on this AB, when I drop a perpendicular, it will come over here. Okay. Similarly, from this B, I have to drop a perpendicular on this. So this is AD, this is CF on this AB, produced till here, and this BE. This altitude we are not producing this side, but rather we will bring it back. So all these three altitudes are meeting outside the triangle for a special obtuse angle triangle. So what are the characteristics of this orthocenter? It may lie inside the triangle. It may lie outside the triangle. Then the third case, for a right angle triangle. For a right angle triangle, if you drop altitude, already two sides are altitudes only, because this AB is a perpendicular on this BC and CB is a perpendicular on this AB. So two altitudes are already meeting at this point B. So automatically this third altitude, that is BE, that is meeting at this point B. So here this B only will become the orthocenter. So what have we observed? Orthocenter meets at a point. Means the orthocenter is a point where altitudes meet, or the point of concurrence of altitudes, and it may lie inside, outside, or one of the vertices. It may lie on the triangle. So this is about the orthocenter and altitude. The next concept is perpendicular bisector. Third, perpendicular bisector is a line which is perpendicular as well as bisects the given line segment. Now in a triangle, if we see the perpendicular bisector of each side. Now, the basic difference between perpendicular bisector and altitude. Altitude also is making an angle of 90 degrees. Perpendicular bisector also makes an angle of 90 degrees. But altitude comes from the vertex. But perpendicular bisector is a line segment which is perpendicular and bisects the side. Means it may or may not meet the opposite vertex. So for this BC, if we drop a perpendicular bisector like this, it will not meet this opposite vertex. But in equilateral triangle, it will meet. Okay. So for any other general triangle, there is no hard and fast rule that it will come from the vertex. It has to be perpendicular as well as it will bisect the line segment. Similarly, for this, if we draw the perpendicular bisector of this and the perpendicular bisector of this third side AC. So wherever these three points, these three perpendicular bisectors meet, that point of concurrence is called circumcenter. So we can take it by any letter. So here we can say the circumcenter is a point which is the point of concurrence of perpendicular bisectors of the sides of a triangle. So we can write the definition also. Before that, we will write the definition of perpendicular bisector. So perpendicular bisector is a line segment which makes an angle of 90 degrees means it is perpendicular and bisects the given line segment. Okay, so this is perpendicular bisector. Suppose I am naming it small l, or this is m and this is n. All these three perpendicular bisectors are meeting at a point which is called circumcenter. So first you have to define perpendicular bisector, then we will write circumcenter. So circumcenter we will define as, this is the point of concurrence of perpendicular bisectors of a triangle is called circumcenter. Now the word circumcenter, center normally comes in the circle. So we can draw a circle through this circumcenter, and the characteristics of this circumcenter are, it is equidistant from each vertex. It means if you join this circumcenter and each vertex, then that will be equal distance. It means that we can say, so this is the definition of circumcenter, we can say that SA, circumcenter is S, this is circumcenter, and if we talk about the characteristics, SA will be equal to SB will be equal to SC. So in words what will we write? The circumcenter is equidistant from each vertex of the triangle, and if we take this S as a center and either SA or SC or SB as the radius, and if we draw a circle, the circle will touch each vertex, and that circle will be called circumcircle. This circle, which is drawn by taking the center as the circumcenter. Okay, and how did we get the circumcenter? By point of concurrence of perpendicular bisectors. So there is another definition which will come here. These all distances will work as the radius of that circle. So they are called circumradius. Each one of this distance is circumradius. And as I said, this circle will be called circumcircle. And you will observe the circumcircle is always outside, means it touches all three vertices of the triangle, and it is drawn touching all three vertices in such a way that we can say the center is the circumcenter, and the distance of circumcenter from each vertex is called the circumradius. So this we have learned what is perpendicular bisector and what is circumcenter, circumradius and circumcircle. First we saw an acute angle triangle. Now if you notice in a right angle triangle, the circumcenter may lie on one of the sides also. So this is a right angle triangle ABC where angle B is equal to 90 degrees. Okay, so a special case I have taken for this. If you draw three perpendicular bisectors, the perpendicular bisectors are, this is L and this is another one N, and this is the third perpendicular bisector M. So these three lines, perpendicular bisectors, are meeting at a point S. So S will be the circumcenter of this circle. Okay. Similarly, here I have drawn an obtuse angle triangle. This angle B is greater than 90 degrees. So when you take this triangle, obtuse angle triangle, then you will notice when you drop the perpendicular bisectors, the perpendicular bisector of this BC is this L, perpendicular bisector of AB is this M, and perpendicular bisector of AC is this N. They are meeting outside the triangle. So this circumcenter can lie outside the circle also. That we saw in orthocenter also. Clear? For obtuse angle triangle, if you will draw the perpendicular bisectors, they will meet outside the triangle, and this S as a center means circumcenter. If you draw a circle by taking SA or SB or SC as the radius, then this is the circumcircle. So what we have seen, all three cases, acute angle triangle, right angle triangle and obtuse angle triangle, which has given us the characteristics of circumcenter. It may lie inside, it may lie on the side, or it may lie outside the triangle. And the fourth property is in center. How will we get this in center? By the angle bisectors of all three angles of a triangle. So when we take an angle bisector is that line segment which divides an angle into two equal parts. So fourth is, first we will talk about angle bisector, then angle bisectors will give us in center. So first we will say angle bisector is a line segment which divides an angle into two equal parts. So for any triangle, first we will see a general acute angle triangle. All three angles are less than 90 degrees. And if we draw angle bisectors, here also angle bisector will be drawn from each vertex. So here I have drawn one angle bisector, another angle bisector, and the third one. Third one will come like this. It means that this angle 1 is equal to angle 2. And here angle 3 is equal to angle 4. So this angle bisector, here AD is an angle bisector, BE is an angle bisector, and CF is the third angle bisector. So these angle bisectors are meeting at a point. Here 1 is equal to 2, angle 3 is equal to 4, and 5 is equal to 6. They will meet at a point which is called in center. So how will we define in center? The point of concurrence of angle bisectors. So in center is the point of concurrence of angle bisectors. Okay. Now this is the in center, and if we draw a circle in, the word in tells us that if we draw a circle by taking I as a center end, the radius will not be IA or IB or IC. Here the radius will be the perpendicular dropped from the in center on the side. So one perpendicular will work. If I drop a perpendicular from this I on the side BC, so this IM is a perpendicular dropped on BC, then that IM will become the radius. Similarly, we can draw the perpendicular from I on AC, from I on AB. All three will be called in radius. This, as I said, this perpendicular, what it is drawn, IM. Similarly, we can drop a perpendicular from here to this, from I to this also, this side AB, So all three will be called in radius. So here this IM is in radius, and if you draw a circle by taking this as a radius, it will touch all three sides of the triangle. So what is the characteristic of this in center? This in center is equidistant from the sides of the triangle. What we had seen in the circumcenter? The circumcenter was equidistant from the vertices of the triangle. This is the basic difference between incircle and a circumcircle. A circumcircle is drawn outside, means which touches all three vertices, whereas the incircle touches all three sides of the triangle. So we can say this I, which is the in center, and this you can write as in center. In center will be equidistant from each side of a triangle. So this is about angle bisectors and in center. So we have seen four special properties which are based on median, altitude, perpendicular bisector and angle bisector. Medians gave centroid and altitude gave orthocenter, and we saw perpendicular bisector gave us circumcenter, and angle bisectors, they will give in center. So these are the four special properties of a triangle.